Hello, how are you? Good morning, everybody. I hope you all well. So, today we are going to start lecture number 2 of chapter 8. So, come to the page number 86. First, we revise the topic which we have learned in the last lecture, and then we'll start the new topic. So, chapter 8, Source of Business Finance. So, in lecture number 1, we have done about the introduction, then we done about the meaning of business finance, then need of business finance. There is a four factors affecting the need for capital, like a established business, for the purchase of fixed asset, and for the current asset, for modernization and expansion of business, and for accidental requirements. So these are the factors which determine the need for the capital, कि हमें किस तरह से ये जो फिनांस है वो यूज़फुल है, हमें उनकी नीड कैसे है. सो फर्स्ट वन है फॉर एस्टेब्लिशिंग द बिजनेस. So we have seen about this in last lecture. For the starting of business, primary and extensive research expenditure are required to meet capital is required, and also for the required capital for prepare the documents like certificates, fees of experts, etc. And the second one is the purchase of fixed asset. So for the produce of fixed goods, we need machineries, and for machineries included in the fixed asset. So for that, to purchase that machine, we need a finance or a capital. Then same is for current asset like raw materials, payment of salary, wages to the employee and worker, etc. For modernization and expansion of business. And the last one is that the four accidental requirements, because in a business environment we don't have idea any about the any uncertainties. So many internal and external factors which affect the business unit, and for that requirement of capital arise to meet factors like employee strike, government policy, trade cycle, and natural disaster also. So next, important of finance in business firm. We have done this topic already in detail. So now we moving on next topic, that is the honors fund. This also we have done. So in honors fund, we explained about the meaning and characteristics of equity share in last lecture. So there are 10 characteristics of equity shares. First, true honors. Second, right to vote. Third, rate of dividend. Fourth, profit related. Fifth, general meeting. Sixth, repayment of capital. Seven, dissolution. Eight, share of qualification. Nine, capital benefit. 10, registration of share. So here there is a 10 characteristics which clarify about the equity share. So equity shareholder are called the true owners of the company. Then right to vote as per the share held by them, and they have a right of dividend. It is not fixed because it depends on the profit. If profit is high, then dividend of rate is high, and if the profit is low, then rate of dividend is low. So that is not fixed. Profit related. So dividend receivable to such a shareholder is related with the profit. Hence dividend will be increase and decrease with profits, as I explained you in third topic, third characteristics. Then general meeting, shareholder have to write attend meeting and also what cast what. Then repayment of capital is not repaid during the existence of company. At the time of liquidation, capital paid. I mean to say repaid. Then liquidation and shares of qualification. At the time of liquidation, equity shareholder has a different rights or a benefit. If capital is repaid to the equity shareholder and then surplus is available, so that surplus funds are available for the equity shareholder. So these extra benefits available for equity shareholder. Then the shares of qualification by capital benefits like right share, bonus shares, then benefits arising due to increase in share price in market. These all are called capital benefits, which is available for equity shareholders. Now, registration of share. These type of shares are registered in the recognized share market, so the purchase and sale of the shares at market price can be done freely. Now, we are moving on to our next topic. That is a new topic for today's lecture. Now, types of equity share. So here we done the revision of last lecture and start the new topic, types of equity share. So there is a three type of equity share: ordinary equity share, sweat equity share, and other equity share. So first, ordinary equity share. So ordinary equity share. The meaning of ordinary equity share: these shares are very important for the company. Companies which raised share capital, it is compulsory to issue equity shares. For the company, equity share issued is a compulsory if it want to raise share capital. And this type of equity shares called ordinary equity share. And we all know about the shareholder as the true owner of company because I explained you in characteristics of equity share. Only this shareholder bear the real risk of business because it is not definite to get dividend, and if receivable, then the rate of dividend is not fixed. We all knew it because we have understood this in characteristics of equity share कि इक्विटी शेयर होल्डर जो होते हैं उनको एक तो डिविडेंड मिलेगा ये भी श्योर नहीं होता है, और इफ मिले रिसीव हो भी तो उनका रेट है वो फिक्स नहीं होता. इट डिपेंड्स ऑन प्रॉफिट ऑफ कंपनी. Moreover, if a company becomes insolvent or goes into the liquidation, then fund realize after selling this asset, then debt are paid, and after that, in the end, they are repaid their capital. That means in every situation, equity shareholder right in the end of. So the promoters these shares to raise the capital, keeping in mind the short-term, medium-term, and long-term capital requirements. So to raise a large capital, the company divides the capital in small parts or shares, and such each part is called share. And purchaser of these shares is called shareholder. जो भी पर्सन ये शेयर को परचेज करता है उनको हम बोलते हैं शेयर होल्डर. अगर इक्विटी शेयर हो तो इक्विटी शेयर होल्डर, और प्रेफरेंस शेयर्स हो तो प्रेफरेंस शेयर होल्डर. So ordinary equity shares means a normal equity share which is issued by a company for a raise share capital. It is very easy for understanding. So you just read this para and then we'll move on the next types of equity, that is a sweat equity share. You have 30 seconds to read this paragraph. Come on, fast reading. 10 seconds over. 20 seconds over. Okay, done. So next topic is sweat equity share. Company allot a share to its director, persons working in a company who possess a special knowledge and to employ at a discount or without consideration of cash. Such a share are called sweat equity share. दैट मीन्स कंपनी अपने डायरेक्टर को कोई शेयर इश्यू करे और कोई पर्सन को फॉर द बेस्ट वर्किंग और फॉर द स्पेशल नॉलेज, लाइक एनी पर्सन है जिन्होंने बहुत अच्छा काम किया है, बहुत अच्छा कंपनी को प्रॉफिट करवाया है, और कोई दूसरी तरह से बेनिफिट हुआ है उनकी वजह से और बहुत परफेक्टली वर्क किया है, तो उनको एज अ इंस्पिरेशनल, एज अ हम इन प्राइस भी बोल सकते हैं और फॉर द मोटिवेशन, या तो एक डिस्काउंट और विदाउट कंसिडरेशन जो शेयर इश्यू करते हैं, दैट इज कॉल्ड स्वेट इक्विटी शेयर्स. Then next one is other equity share. Other equity share has a two type. First, equity share with a voting right and equity share with a different rights in the relation of dividend and having voting rights. These two types not need to understood in detailing because it is not in your course. So just remember the two name only. The equity share with voting rights and equity share with different rights in relation of dividend and having voting rights. So here we done the topic of types of equity share. So there are three types of equity share: ordinary equity share, sweat equity share, and the other equity share. And in the other equity share, there is a two subtype: equity share with voting right and the equity share with different right in relation of dividend and having voting rights. So here we done this topic. So you have just 20 seconds, revise this, and then we'll moving on a new topic, that is a preference shares. Within 20 seconds, you have to complete the revision, okay? Just go through, just go through the topic and underline the important line points. Okay, done. Good. So next, preferences. So first the meaning. What is a preferences? In common parlance, a preferences means share having a first right to receive a dividend and also uh, first right for getting the repayment of capital at the time of dissolution or liquidation. That is called preferential. That means हमने देखा था कि in equity share there is a right to receive dividend and the repaid capital at the end. But in preference shares, right to receive first, right to receive dividend and capital, both are the first right. That is called preference shares. नाम ही ऐसा है, preference share. So now we read from the textbook. The shares having a first right to receive a dividend from a company's profit and at the time of liquidation of company have a first right for getting a repayment of a capital. Such shares are called preference share. Underline the meaning or definition. Both are the same. Now characteristics. So first dividend. So preference shareholder. See, what is preference shareholder? The meaning of preference shareholder means a person who has purchased, who has a shares which is a preference shares, or a purchaser of preference shares, that called preference shareholder. That means जो भी पर्सन है जिनके पास प्रेफरेंस शेयर्स है और जिन्होंने प्रेफरेंस शेयर परचेज किए हैं, उनको हम प्रेफरेंस शेयर होल्डर बोलेंगे. And these shareholders have a first right to get dividend at a fixed rate, whether it is profit or not. Then right to vote. Preference shareholder have a right to vote for a matter relating to their interest only. Not have a right to vote in every matter like equity shareholder, but only they can cast vote in relating to their interest only. Then the next one is a preference. The investor preferring to buy this type of share is they like to have a steady fixed income and security of their capital, because in a preference shares there have a no risk, any kind of risk, because they have first right to get dividend at fixed rate, also first right to get capital return at the time of liquidation. So there is no single type of risk. Then a market price. So the price of these shares usually remains steady, not that much increase or decrease, but only when there is a change in the rate of interest, then the market price change. Then proportion of risk. So in this type of shares, compared with the equity shareholder, there is a less risk due to priority of repayment of capital. As I told you in third I mean to say third characteristics, right? Then the sixth one is the repayment of capital. At the time of liquidation of company, after repayments of all the liabilities, preference shareholder preference over equity shareholder to get repayment of capital. That means compared to the equity share capital, preferential capital repay the first. Then types of preferences redeemable after 20 years and before 20 years. But before that, you just read total 6 characteristics of preferences. You have 20 to 25 seconds for reading. And also underline the important words or hard words which is revised at the time of examination. So your 20-25 seconds start now. Just read it and then we'll moving on to types of preference share. Try to read fast. See student, it is very easy chapter. This chapter is a little bit lengthy, but not that much also. And it is very easy topic and also very useful for the future. Equity shareholders, preference shareholders, finance, these all the terms very important for the commercial field. So try to understand deeply this all the topics. So characteristics done, good. So there is a 6 characteristics. We revise the head point only and then we'll start the types of preferences. So there is a 6 characteristics. First dividend, then right to vote, then preference, then market price, fifth one proportion of risk, and sixth one repayment of capital. Now types of preference share. See here difference types explained in different form. So in examination, maybe this question asked like a difference or as a short note. So if asked like a short note, then you convert this difference in short note in paragraph form or a points form. So basis of difference. Sorry, there is a difference is equity and preference. It's my mistake. Sorry. So there is a two types of preferences. First one, redeemable preferences before 20 years and redeemable preferences after 20 years. What is a redeemable preferences? So redeemable preferences means a preferences a shares which is redeem or a repayment after the fixed टर्म पीरियड दैट मीन्स ये जो है बिफोर 20 ईयर्स उसमें क्या होता है कि जो भी प्रेफरेंस शेयर्स होते हैं वो 20 ईयर्स इश्यू से लेके 20 ईयर्स कंप्लीट हो उनसे पहले रिडीम करते हैं रिडीम मीन्स रीपेमेंट एंड द सेकेंड वन जो है वो आफ्टर कंप्लीशन ऑफ 20 ईयर्स रिडीम होते हैं सो बस इतना सा सिंपल डिफरेंस है ये दोनों में और कुछ नहीं है बट डिटेल में नहीं पूछेंगे जस्ट नाम ही पूछेंगे. Now difference between equity share and preference shares. Before that you just revise the equity and preference all the topic and then we'll start the difference because if you have idea about the equity and preference then you understood then you can understand only the difference between equity and preference shares. So you have 2 to 3 minutes for revision all the equity share and preference shares. Start from the equity share meaning. So start from the here to the preference shares type and then we'll start the difference between preference and equity. So you have 2 to 3 minutes to revise this. So utilize this 2 to 3 minutes properly and try to read all the line. First meaning. Now characteristic. Equity shares have a more characteristics compared to preference shares. Done. Now types of equity share. आपको जस्ट रिवाइज करना है, डिटेल में नहीं जाना है. And this read only for the purpose of easy understood the difference between equity and preference. Okay, done. Now meaning of preference shares. And characteristics. In equity share there is a 10 characteristics and in preference shares there is only 6 characteristics. Okay, done. Good. Then types of preference shares. So now we start difference between equity and preference shares. So first, basis of difference, compulsory, rate of dividend, right, risk, investor, market price, and addition in capital. So there is a main 7 points. First one is a compulsory. So it is compulsory to issue each company equity share. Means equity share is a compulsory to issue each company for raised capital. Otherwise, company cannot raise share capital. And preference share is not compulsory to issue such a shares by each company. Rate of dividend is not fixed in equity share and rate of dividend is fixed in preference shares. In equity share, there is a right to attend company's meeting, to vote and also elect the manager. In a preference share, there is only a right to vote in matters related to their interest. Not in every matters they have a right. Then the risk proportion is more in equity share, whereas in a preference shares, risk proportion is less than investor. These shares are preferred more by investors who wish to take risk and speculate in shares, and preference shares are preferred more by such investors who wish to get fixed income and security of capital, because in a preference shares there is a rate of dividend is fixed, so there is a fixed income. Then a market price increase and decrease in a equity share. Whereas in a preference shares, proportionately the price of share remain fixed, no increase or decrease in market price. And in a equity share types, capital can be raised by right share and bonus share also. And in preference share, capital cannot be raised. So it is a very easy difference between equity and preference. You can also write by your own words also, but the basis of difference is compulsory. If you won't write the basis of difference, then you won't get score. Okay. So first one compulsory. So equity share is issued compulsory. Preference shares is not compulsory. Rate of dividend is not fixed. Is fixed in preference. Then right. Then risk. Investor market price and addition in capital. The preference shares cannot be raised. Equity share can be raised by right share and bonus share. Bonus share issued without consideration and right share issued with discount or without consideration. It depends on company. So here we done the difference between equity share and preference share. You just read it and then we'll moving on next topic. You have 1 minute for read this. And try to learn basis of difference. So to this topic, we have done there is three main questions in which head points are done. So first one is the characteristics of equity share. Next one, second one is the characteristics of preference shares, and third one is this topic. There's a difference between equity and preference share. So first you complete the reading of this topic, and then we'll revise the head points only. Done? Try to read fast. And also underline, it is compulsory, it is not compulsory. Is not fixed, is fixed. Right to attend company's meeting and right to vote only their interest. Risk is more, risk is less. Then take a risk and speculate in share and to get fixed income and security of capital. Then there is an increase and decrease, there is a no increase and decrease. Capital can be raised, capital cannot be raised. Okay, done. So now we just revise the head points. So first one, need factors determine the need for capital. So for establishing business, for purchase of fixed asset, for the current asset, for modernization and expansion of business, and for accidental requirements. Next one is characteriस्टिक्स ऑफ इक्विटी शेयर, ट्रू ऑनर्स, राइट टू वॉट, रेट ऑफ डिविडेंड. आपको भी मेरे साथ बोलते जाना है, रिवाइज करते जाना है. रेट ऑफ डिविडेंड, प्रॉफिट रिलेटेड, जनरल मीटिंग, रिपेमेंट ऑफ कैपिटल, डिसोल्यूशन, शेयर्स ऑफ क्वालिफिकेशन एंड कैपिटल बेनिफिट्स एंड रजिस्ट्रेशन ऑफ शेयर. अगर क्लास में हो तो कैसे बोलते हो, ऐसे वैसे ही कंपलसरी आपको घर पे भी रिवाइज करना ही है. And next one is types of equity, ordinary, sweat and other. Then characteristics of preference shares, dividend, right to vote, preference, market price, proportion of risk and repayment of capital. Types of preference shares, redeemable before 20 and redeemable after 20 years. Then basis of difference in equity shares and preference shares, compulsory, rate of dividend, right, risk, investor, market price and addition in capital. So here we done this topic and also we done today's lecture. So now note down the homework. In today's homework, write in detail types of equity share, Then meaning of preferences, characteristics of preferences, and types of preferences. Writer, write in detail types of equitation, then meaning of preferences, and also the characteristics of preferences. There is a three questions: types of equity, meaning of preference, and characteristics of meaning in fair book, and head points in head point book and rough book also. Okay, so here we done today's lecture. I hope you all enjoyed this lecture because it is very easy and interesting topic. So goodbye everyone.